Shalom. I want to begin a lesson off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Makakodash. Double blessing and honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Back with another lesson through the spirit, man. Just want to come at y'all real quick with a little news update. And this graphic that I seen come across my news feed. And now I'm going to read this little article I got concerning some stuff that been going on with NATO recently. I do want to declare fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now we got that squared away.
What would happen if Putin decided to fire a nuclear missile at the U.S.? It still might not actually happen because of one shocking reason. Let me explain. What would happen if Russia tried to sink a U.S. aircraft carrier? First, Russian submarines and bombers would launch hypersonic missiles at the USS Gerald R. Ford in the Norwegian Sea. The carrier's defense systems would engage automatically, firing interceptor missiles. At the same time, fighter jets are launched from the deck. Within minutes, multiple explosions would hit the strike group, damaging escort ships and setting the Ford's flight deck on fire. But this is only the beginning of the crisis. Washington would immediately raise nuclear alert levels and invoke NATO Article 5. While Moscow would claim the attack was defensive. U.S. submarines would hunt the Russian attackers, and within hours, a Russian submarine would be critically damaged by American torpedoes. However, the moment nukes come into play, there's almost no turning back. Russia could strike NATO bases, launch cyber attacks, or escalate to tactical nuclear weapons, but each move risks all-out war. What would happen?
If I get a cyber attack, man, I don't know worse. Electromagnetic pulse. I'll end up playing that again, most likely, but this lesson not gonna be too long because it's already late. It says breaking news: Russia threatened NATO. U.S. intercepts bombers near Alaska. Now, if you are all unaware, DJ said earlier, well, that was yesterday when I was watching the news when he was at that meeting. He said somebody basically asked him, like, it was about, like, if Russian jets, like, basically flew over any NATO countries, he said that he give them approval to bomb them. I thought they were saying airstrikes at them. It says Russian warning. Alexei Meshkov, Russia's ambassador to France, said in an interview today that if a NATO country were to shoot down a Russian aircraft, that would be war. His comments follow rising airspace incidents across Europe. Right now, man, the EU is about to go ahead and get ready to go to war with Russia. Getting ready, so these EU nations is about to go to war with Russia very soon. You know, it was some Russian jets that was scrambled around Alaska earlier today. So, Secretary General Mark Rutte underscored that the alliance will take action when necessary to protect its skies, stressing that NATO remains firm on defending its airspace. It's NATO versus the BRICS, man. U.S. interceptions. NORAD confirmed that American fighters intercepted 2 Russian Tu-95 bombers and 2 Su-35 fighters in the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone. The aircraft stayed in international airspace and never entered U.S. or Canadian territory. That's what I was talking about. NORAD confirmed that American fighters intercepted 2. Yep. And I've shown that depiction before. Alaska and, United States and Russia are very close to each other. via Alaska. Escalating tensions, these incidents come amid intensifying rhetoric and increasingly frequent Russian flights, testing NATO and U.S. responses. And I'll play that video again before I get this.
What would happen if Russia tried to sink a U.S. aircraft carrier? First, Russian submarines and bombers would launch hypersonic missiles at the USS Gerald R. Ford in the Norwegian Sea. The carrier's defense systems would engage automatically, firing interceptor missiles. At the same time, fighter jets are launched from the deck. Within minutes, multiple explosions would hit the strike group, damaging escort ships and setting the Ford's flight deck on fire. But this is only the beginning of the crisis. Washington would immediately raise nuclear alert levels and invoke NATO Article 5. While Moscow would claim the attack was defensive. U.S. submarines would hunt the Russian attackers, and within hours, a Russian submarine would be critically damaged by American torpedoes. However, the moment nukes come into play, there's almost no turning back. Russia could strike NATO bases, launch cyber attacks, or escalate to tactical nuclear weapons, but each move risks all-out war. What would happen if...
Now, we know, of course, that when America, when the U.S. and Russia actually ended up getting into it, that's going to be, you know what I'm saying, the last blow. That's going to be World War III right there. I'm tweeting, not Jeremiah. Ezekiel 36:5. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Jeremiah 25:9. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 25, verse 8, says, "Therefore thus saith Yahweh of hosts, because ye have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith Yahweh, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about, and will utterly destroy them and make them an astonishment and an hissing and perpetual desolations. Moreover, I will take from them voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones and the light of the candle. And the whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. Okay? So it's talking about ancient Babylon, but we can, you know what I'm saying, put this into perspective today. The Lord is going to bring forth a collection of countries from the north. And it's already been forming, you know what I'm saying, China, Russia, stuff like that. That's why I said this place is going to be despised among the heathen, despised among men. It's like I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to get across reference. Crazy work. The book of Jeremiah 50:8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he goats before the flocks. What's the Chaldeans that's talking about, you know what I'm saying, Esau, Edom. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon once again, America, an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken, their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain. And that's talking about, you know what I'm saying, the arrows is talking about those ICBM missiles, man. They have precise accuracy. And Chaldea shall be a spoil, all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh. This is going to be my last one. I'm going to close it off there. Revelation 20:7 says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. This is talking about us, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, which is talking about Russia, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea, the Israelites. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints, again the Israelites, about in the beloved city, and fire came down from the Most High power out of heaven and devoured them, fire and brimstone, lake of fire. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, the Edomites, where the beast and the false prophet are, right? The beast, the system, you know what I'm saying? The revived Roman Empire, the false prophet, the Roman Catholic Church, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. All of these things are going to come to pass, man, very soon, Lord willing. God dang, I can't type. Revelation 11 and verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And that third woe is talking about World War III, right? So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to those out there listening and watching. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Makakodash. Double blessing and honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. And until next time, I say Shalom Israel. Shalom. And as always, we're one day closer to the kingdom, man. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Shalom.